Hey everyone, it's Synchron here, and today I'll be bringing you all a Junk Synchron Junk Warrior OTK deck. Basically, this card mainly revolves around Scrap Fist and Junk Warrior being on the field. But if you can't get those two cards in your hand for the OTK, worst comes to worst, you could always use Rush Warrior and a Synchro Warrior on your side of the field, double its attack, try to go for game, etc. I'll explain the card choices later in the video. And I will point out that this deck will more than likely break most of the time. It is an OTK version, not a lot of combo pieces there. It's basically trying to get one of the synchro monsters out on your side of the field, hitting your opponent's life points as hard as possible. And yeah, that's basically it. So let's get into it. So starting off with the monsters, definitely gotta run 3 Junk Synchron. When this card is open, summon target level 2 or lower in your grave, supposed to summon it on the field, but it has its effects negated. Next up, while we control no monsters, I figured 2 Junk Forward would be just as good for the special summon for the deck. Next up, 2 Jet Synchron. When this card is sent to the grave as synchro material, you can add a junk monster from your deck to your hand. If this card is in your grave, you could send a card from your hand to the grave. Special summon this card to your side of the field, but banish it when it leaves the field. 1 Junk Exploder. When this card is number summoned, select a Synchron in your grave, special summon it to your side of the field, but it has its effects negated. And for the grave special summoning, 3 Doppel Warrior. If a monster is special summoned from your grave, special summon this card from your hand. And if this card leaves the field, for a synchro summon, special summon 2 Doppel tokens to your side of the field. Next up, 3 Rush Warrior. During damage calculation, if a synchro monster you control battles an opponent's monster, you can discard this card to your grave. That synchro monster you control that is battling an opponent's monster has its attack doubled during damage calculation only. And you can banish this card from your grave, then target a synchron monster in your grave, add it to your hand. Next up, 2 Quibbled Hedgehog, mainly for the special summon and triggering Doppel Warrior. But what this card does is, if you control a face-up tuner, you can special summon this card from your grave. If this card was summoned this way, remove it from play when it is removed from the field. Quick Draw Synchron, easy special summon, and mainly using it for the other Synchron monsters that require a specific name. Talking of specific names, we also do run 2 Righty Driver. For a synchro summon you can substitute this card for any Synchron Batuner. If this card is normal summoned, you can special summon a righty from your hand, deck, or grave. Speaking of righty, I figured 1 is good enough for the deck. If this card is special summoned, you can make this card's level become 3 until the end of this turn, and during your main phase, except the turn it was sent to the grave, you can banish this card from your grave, add a righty from your deck to your hand. And finishing up the monster lineup, I figured 2 Empowered Warrior. I mainly use it for the Pendulum effect because at the start of the damage step, if a monster you control battles an opponent's face-up monster, you can discard 1 card. Your opponent's battling monster loses attack and defense. Your opponent's battling monster loses attack and defense. You can discard 1 card. Your opponent's battling monster's attack and defense becomes half its current attack and defense. Sorry, my English is horrible, but its monster effect is if this card in its owner's monster zone is destroyed by your opponent's attack or card effect, you can add a warrior or spellcaster monster with 2,000 or less attack from your deck to your hand. Like I said, mainly using it for the attack lowering and running over boss monsters that may or may not be that may be problematic, or like I said, just hitting your opponent as hard as possible with hitting your opponent's life points as hard as possible. But yes, that does it for the monster lineup. For the spells that we do run in the deck, we run 3 Scrap Fist. The main purpose of this the main reason we run Junk Warrior, and the easiest way to actually OTK your opponent when you do start this card. When you have this card in your starting hand or draw it in the perfect time. Target a Junk Warrior you control. If it battles an opponent's monster, apply the following effects. If first effect, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. Any battle damage your opponent takes is doubled. If it attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing damage. It can Junk Warrior cannot be destroyed by battle and destroy the opponent's monster during the end of the damage step. Next up, if that doesn't work, we always do run Clashing Soul. Like I said, I love this card. Basically, if a monster you control battles an opponent's monster, and the monster you control has lower attack, pay 500 light points to kind of pay 500 light points however many times you want to balance out or attack over your opponent's monster. But in the end, if any player's monster will be destroyed by battle during that battle, you could send all cards your opponent controls to the grave instead. And for these extra searching to tuning, add a Synchron tuner from your deck to your hand and send one card from the top of your deck to your grave. Reinforcements on the army for the warriors. And for the equipped spells we run in the deck, 3 Magnum Shield. Now this is why we don't run a lot of links, because this is the main point of Magnum Shield. Equipped only to a warrior type monster, apply the following effects depending on its battle position. Attack position. It gains attack equal to the original defense, or defense position gains a defense equal to the original attack. But more than likely, a monster you control is going to be in attack position, and therefore whatever its defense is, it just gains the... It's basically... its defense points stack onto its attack points, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. And one card I've actually always wanted to run in this deck, Solitary Sword of Poison. Equipped only to a monster you control. If the equipped monster battles an opponent's monster, the equipped monster's original attack and defense is doubled during the damage during damage calculation only. Sorry, again, I cannot talk. If you control a monster other than the equipped monster, send this card to the grave. That's how we only run 1, because we can also search it out with Hidden Armory. I run 2, but 3 is just as good. Send the top card from your deck to your grave. Add 1 equipped spell from your deck or grave to your hand. However, you cannot normal summon or set the turn you activate this card. Somewhat hinders the Synchrons, since they do have their effects activated when normal summon. But if you do manage to find a way around it, then this card is just as good in the deck. 2 Call About the Grave, because this deck hates hand traps, hates being stopped when searching, and yeah. You know what? Stardust Respark, mainly for the Stardust Warrior in the extra deck. I did say spells only. I did say we were going to go over spells, but I figured since we run only 1 trap, it wouldn't really hurt. But that does it for the spells and, I guess, trap card that we run. For the extra deck, we do run 2 Junk Warrior, mainly for the Rush Warrior and Scrapface OTK. 2 Jet Warrior, mainly for the returning of 1 card your opponent controls back to their hand and free special summon while it's in the grave. Trooper to level 2 in your on your side of the field, special summon it, banish it when it leaves the field. TG for the draw power. Stardust Assault Warrior, in case Junk Warrior is in the grave, bring it back to your side of the field. And basically, like I said, Rush Warrior, Scrapface, OTK. Natural Warrior, because it's a Synchro Warrior monster, easy to go into with quick draw. Crimson Blader, Synchro Warrior. If anything, just try to run over 1 monster your opponent controls. Junk Destroyer. A lot easier to go into with quick draw. However, you mainly want to use Junk Synchron for this to get as many materials into this card as possible, because for every material this card used, where Synchro Summon, destroy the same amount of cards your opponent controls on their side of the field. Stardust Warrior, mainly for the special summon negation, and if this card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 8 or lower Synchro Warrior from your grave. So if anything, you don't even have to synchro for, say, Crimson Warrior. You just have to make sure your opponent gets rid of this card, and so you could get a free synchro summon basically. And finishing off the extra deck we do run, I sold many for the link arrows. Like I said, if you have any other different ideas, by all means, run that version in your build, or if anything, comment it down below, and maybe if I do read it, I might make an update later in the future. But yeah, that does it for the extra deck. Well, that was fun. I hope you all enjoyed my horrible pronunciation of certain cards or my stammering of words. This is the end of the video, so like I say in most of the videos, I hope you all enjoyed. Like the video, dislike it, do you feel it's necessary. Subscribe if you're new, subscribe if you want. Do share the video with other people who are interested in this kind of deck. And comment down below what you thought. Granted, I may not reply in time or maybe ever because I'm probably doing other things and I can't always focus on what others are saying of my videos, or what you guys may ask in the videos that want to be answered. So again, I do apologize if some questions do go unanswered or some comments do not get a reply when needed to. So yeah, I hope like I said, I hope you all enjoyed, and see you all next time.